We're Can you catch me up to speed a little bit? Because I know we were like kind of good friends like right after we got off the Mew, but like what was your like? Can you just like catch people up to speed on like what your background was or like where you went to like the story of your Navy career?
I was a Navy corpsman with 2-8. Before that, I was up at Walter Reed, the worst place ever. But and then I went to Camp Lejeune, which is the Marines' worst place ever. But I was with my first job was giving colonoscopies to like politicians and high-ranking people. And then
Wait, what?
yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I did not know that, but I know what a subject we're going to talk about for the next half hour, though.
Oh
That's cool to
yeah.
hear.
So I was like my group chat because like Bob Dole's like all about colon cancer. So my group chat with all my friends back home is R.I.P. Bob Dole. I once did his colonoscopy. I'm like, good man, good man.
uh, See, I love our ability as guys. We can just like we always have like the funniest group chat names.
Oh yeah, I was
That's like
like,
that's hilarious. But
but I did that. I did security for Trump, and then I got to do that a couple times through ASF. So I would
uh-huh.
do the gate guard, but then they would have us do security in DC when they needed people. So they
Hmm.
pull us, and then I go do security while he was like driving around. And it sounds really cool,
Yeah.
but I would just stand on a street corner somewhere,
Hmm.
and he wouldn't even come down the street most of the time.
No.
but but that was cool. And I went down, did my FMTB training, and then I was like, oh, like all my friends are going to 2-6, and then I had Ramberg coming with me at 2-8, so I was like, oh, it's not all bad. I met who was it, Bigelow, HM1 Bigelow for my first experience. I was like, man, this guy looks mean as hell. I was like, let's treat us like crap. I was like, oh crap, we're rebooted. And then I was stuck in HNS for a while, and then I went on deployment with you guys, and then I got moved to Fox Company. I was with a weapons platoon with Fox Company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, this is really interesting because like when you came like because when I first met you, you were HNS, you were Ramberg's roommate. So I just immediately associated you with like weirdness, quirkiness, the goofiness that comes with Ramberg. Like I just
Oh yeah.
immediately lumped you into that. But I had no idea that like you have like this fascinating.
No, I was like, I would tell people that, and they'd be like, I don't believe you. I was just like, no, it was a horrible job.
Well, I was always under the impression, I mean, I guess I'm wrong, but like didn't like at least in the civilian world, it's usually doctors that have to do colonoscopies, right? But I guess in the Navy, I mean, you could just do it on anybody, I guess, or anyone can do it.
So I was like a technician, so we would have a doctor in there, and we would sometimes have surgeons. Surgeons are horrible. If you like if you ever need a colonoscopy, don't have a surgeon do it. But
Mm,
we would like hand them tools and stuff, and then we'd control the scope when the doctor was in there. It was
mm,
gnarly business. So I would do colonoscopies and
mm.
endoscopies through the mouth. So those are worse most of the time.
Oh, okay. But did you actually get to like I guess what everyone wants to know, did you actually like, touch the the pot of gold? Did you
Oh yeah, all the time. I was like, so like sometimes the doctor would be like, "Oh, I need extra lube." I have to go down there and I'd rub lube on the scope.
the epitome of all Navy jobs.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was like, and then they're like, "Oh, this is a crap job for your first command." People always say that to me. I'm just like, "Oh, I'm just giving it back to the man. You get to do the politician." So I had no filter. I was young. I had no filter when I was doing it. So I was like, I just tell I was pretty crazy in DC, and
Mm,
the doctors would say, they would be like, "Oh, what'd you do this weekend?" I'm like, "Oh, I went." This is the middle of a procedure. I'm like, "Oh, I went wild this weekend, sir." And you work really close with them, so it's very different. It's like
yeah.
probably like your platoon commander. It's probably like that for like these 04s, 05s, 06s sometimes.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just like, I'm just like, oh, yeah, sir. I went hard in the paint this weekend. I crashed a bachelorette party. I got invited to the wedding. I'm probably gonna go. He's like, that sounds like a horrible idea. I was like, you'll only live once.
Dude, that's incredible. Dude, what I don't know if you'd be incriminated to share it or like if you're gonna be suicided if you do, but like what are names of some famous because you said politicians and famous people, so who are we do we have
So
names?
Bob Dole, he's dead. So, and he was like very open about it. So I
Mm,
think he's fine. And then I didn't get to do it, but Kelly Clarkson was always there because she had colon cancer, and she like got all this funding. So colon cancer is like not a death sentence anymore. It used to be like 50-50 or something.
uh,
And then she got it, and she was like, we need to raise all this awareness. And now it's like it's like pretty minor compared to some of the more lethal cancers. I was like, oh my God, bro. Kelly
mhm.
Clarkson. But I didn't get to do hers, very sadly. But then my doctors would do like my my doctors. Oh, she was heavy at the time too. So
Oh, this was
yeah,
Fat Kelly Clarkson.
yeah.
Huh?
This was Fat Kelly Clarkson. This was she had colon cancer. She couldn't poop. But we had doctors doing. One of my doctors went in to do. I know Trump's wife, and
Oh,
I was
yeah.
that was I was standing outside the door of
Mhm.
that one. I was like at the front desk for the security job for that,
Oh,
which was
okay. So
pretty
this was when
cool.
you were doing security. This was like,
Yeah. So
okay.
they'd pull you whenever they came, and then I'd have to go do security.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right.
It was like a duty almost.
Okay. Now, when you did security for Trump, like, did you actually get to like see him or meet him in any way, or how did that work?
I I saw him one time, and I was in front of the curtain, and all I could see was his hair because he's really tall. So I
Mhm.
saw his hair, and I was like, "That's him." I was like, because I just turned around real quick. I was like, "Oh, he's there." And
Yeah.
then he sounded exactly the same as like he was like, "You guys are the best. You guys are great." That's exactly what he sounded like. I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "He's just the same."
He is as advertised. That's perfect.
Yeah. But I would mostly just be in like a stairwell with like other Secret Service guys, and they were really funny. I just
Mhm.
cracked jokes with them the whole time. I don't know if I was being recorded, but I was like, I don't care. I was like,
Yeah, I was about to say, are they like reptilian agents or like, spooky or like they just, how are Secret Service?
no. Secret Service people are like, I when I found out what like they do, one guy was like, yeah, I did IT for FBI for like the longest time, and then I got the opportunity to get a six-figure job with these people, so I applied and I got it. And then they have like a bunch of D1 athletes and stuff like that. I
Okay.
know one of the guys I would like stand guard with. He was a D1 athlete. And then there was like another guy, and he was like a detective for a while for the FBI.
Okay. I mean, I guess it makes you somewhat qualified, but like, I mean, I don't want to say like that's
Well,
it, but like,
they're like they're like a show because there's other guys in the
yeah.
background. Like they're like, oh, these guys are coming up. I'm just like, because at Walter Reed there's a giant tower, and they put the snipers and all the crazy guys up in that tower, and they
Mhm.
came through and they had like the nicest guns. I was like, I don't even know what they're carrying up there, but it was just like all their spotting equipment and stuff. It's pretty much like our snipers, but
Yeah.
then they would have like everything. They'd have like thermals and stuff, and they'd come up with like probably like 15 different suitcases.
Mm.
So I don't know
Mm.
if I'm supposed to talk about it, but well.
I mean, I don't think you would get killed for that. I mean, honestly, I mean, if they let him get, I mean, knowing their Secret Service's track record the past 10 years, honestly, I think you're fine.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah. God, dude, it's no wonder Trump got shot. That's all it takes. Work in IT, maybe be a D1
Yeah, yeah,
athlete. Like, dude,
yeah. I
no
was
wonder.
like, I was like, yeah, I think I was more qualified than a lot of that. I was like, how often do you guys go shoot? And they're like, like same, probably same as you. I'm just like, how often is that? And they're like, I'm like, I went to shoot to get qualified, and that was it. For,
Yeah.
like the ASF stuff, and then like that was like annually, so or like once a year. I was just like, "Oh, how often do you guys shoot?" And they're like, "Oh, he goes to the gun range." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, but what does that mean?" And they're like, "Oh, we qualify." I was like, "How
Like,
often
you're
do you
not
guys
answering
qualify?"
my
Once a
question,
year.
dude.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm just like, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm not a very good shot." I was like, "Oh, me neither, man." And at the time, I'm just like, "Oh yeah, these are just people." So,
Dude, we need to we need to get this out there. This is why like Trump almost got killed, I think. Like,
yeah. And now I know Hogan, Lieutenant Hogan. I think it was after you left. Hogan was in the class to do it. I'm not sure if he's still in it, but he's at there's a school down here for Secret Service members, and then they kicked him out of the class. I was like, I would rather have Hogan guarding me than it's like I'd rather have him guarding me over like a little girl or something like that.
fuck, I'd rather have anybody now that I think of it. Shit. Over to So you did colonoscopies, security, and then you just magically found your way to the happiest place on earth, Wallace Creek.
Oh yeah, I was like, I want to go to the Marines. That's what I said.